Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? Here is part two of an interview yesterday in our live broadcast with Mike from around the world. Now, he's going to get into some of the information on internment camps, also Walmart's role with the Department of Homeland Security and why. And so I just want you to take a listen to this right here. This was from yesterday's live broadcast. Of course, my show is every day, Monday through Friday from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern, and on Sunday Night Live from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. That's my online Coming Apocalypse show. Of course, my new television show will debut on Friday night, July 3rd at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. That's Friday night, July 3rd, 11:30 p.m. Eastern on DirecTV, channel 367, and Dish Network, channel 217 on World Harvest Television. All right, let's go back to part two of this interview with Mike from around the world.
I know I have not been forthcoming in the past, but if something happens. But this weekend was quite disturbing, and I'll tell you why. It's because I'm always concerned about other people. How are people going to handle this? There are so many selfish people out there that are not concerned about the populace, and yet the populace is largely unaware of things that are transpiring. And I heard you mention one time, internment centers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was a dream I had. That was the exact word.
There's another name for these things, and internment was one of the original names before them, prior to the change and everything that's going to happen. But something is happening with the resources of America, even right now. Something is happening with the resources. I can't go into detail, but something is happening with the resources of America. And so what it appears to be, the outcome of this, and it really begins with a Confederate flag.
Okay.
Which is, this whole thing is absolutely ridiculous, but it's also purposed. This violence, this new breed of violence, the new riots that will pop up, I can tell you right now, they will start with a Confederate flag. Pastor Paul, if they remove the Confederate flag, first it was bad cops against African Americans. Well, if they remove the Confederate flag, the other hate groups will begin to rise up, but not only them. Those who see no problem with it, but see it tied into a deep culture in America, as it's one of the founding forces that actually assisted in the establishment of things. Pastor, it's not going to go well, and it's beginning, and it will increase, but it's going to begin with this flag, because then you're going to have different parties that begin to rise up, and during this time of violence, that's when they begin to maneuver. The chaos of people always gives a window to maneuver things. And the internment camps, as you call them, people will actually be drawn to them for a type of sanctuary. They will try to get to them. Out of the way of everything else.
Okay, so, the dream I had in 1994, of course, they used those exact words, internment camp. That could be, in some ways, I guess, I look at the FEMA camps now as potentially the same thing as what I saw in the dream, which was the word was internment camp. And I start to wonder about your point here. This Walmart thing, and let's face it, it's weird. I mean, there's stuff going on. There's stuff going on right now that people are seeing all kinds of stuff. I've seen videos of barbed wire. I see people, there's violence. They're fighting in the stores. They're closing stores. They got guards everywhere. They're reconfiguring things. We hear the tunnels. I mean, this isn't just delusional stuff. And we already know this is something I know you can comment on. Janet Napolitano, she was the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security in 2010. There's a video on YouTube. She says that Department of Homeland Security is going to work with Walmart to help bring security in the nation. And that if you see something in your community that doesn't look right, go to your local Walmart store and tell the store manager. I mean, come on, she said that. Mike, you got to confirm this with me, that Walmart is involved somehow, or they're going to play a role in this, I think, this internment camp, concentration camp, FEMA camp.
Pastor, people, I wonder how many people know about Walmart logistics. They have one of the most comprehensive logistic programs. It's for lack of better terms, it is one of the high-rated applications, computer applications for supply and demand. So they have a very, very robust logistical program. When Walmart began, it was sponsored, so to speak, by the military so that logistical program could be completed. And all of a sudden, you found Walmarts all over the place. And they're stocking these stores according to what people buy, and they fine-tune that logistical program. So Walmart is the key to Walmart is not what they sell in the store. It's how they manage logistical needs.
Okay.
Their logistics program is top-notch. Now, the military also, above everything, if their logistics aren't right, operations fail. And so, because Walmart was a civilian entity with logistical know-how, they worked together a long time ago to fine-tune the system. Back in the other wars, companies and corporations were already set up to produce military vehicles if need be. Well, Walmart is basically that, kind of like that entity, but the logistical side of Walmart creates the importance of it, because they can, now with logistics, supply and demand, you can also manage large amounts of anything. Including accountability of people.
Right.
And so there you have it. It is that is the core importance of Walmart's, is their logistical ability, which is in a system that is a global system.
It's a global system that could be duplicated into other nations of the world, especially when the New World Order, as the New World Order, is getting in position to establish itself, going global. I mean, everywhere I turn, the banks are merging. There's globalization in the industrial complex. I mean, we see the Navy is now a force of one. There's airlines there's a major airline now calling themselves the One World Airline. The globalization of the currencies. There's a great talk of that. I'm going to be talking about that a little bit later here with Alexis Tsipras and the deal they made with Russia over them. So that's just part 2 of the interview with Mike from around the world. Very important information that he's sharing. I think one key thing, he says Walmart was an entity that was a free market entity, but he used the word was, past tense. This is part 2. I'll be back. I'm going to give you one more part 3. This was a 45-minute interview. You can find it at my website at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com if you go to the archives of live stream. Also, it's on an archive at Blog Talk Radio if you want to listen there. I'll be back with more information. This is the coming apocalypse. Jesus is coming soon. Are you saved?